The Caddyshacky hummed along the railway, its wheels rolling with a quiet rhythm as it carved a steady path through the dense jungles of Ophis. The vibrant streaks of light flickered past the windows as a sunset began despite the sky being full of stars. Outside on the porch, Jaida leaned against the railing, her fingers loosely curled around the worn wood. The wind brushed through her hair, carrying the scent of damp alien foliage and blossoming flora. For a moment, she allowed herself to simply be, letting the quiet cradle her, the tension in her shoulders easing. Behind her, though, the soft creak of the porch's floorboards broke the stillness. "Hey, Cookie Crumbs. Something on your mind?" Ellie's voice was light, almost playful, but mixed with genuine concern. Jaida turned, her lips rising into a smile at the sight of Ellie slouched against the doorframe. "How long have you been standing there?" she asked, the corners of her eyes squinting. Ellie smirked. "Long enough." She pushed herself off the door and stepped forwards, settling beside Jaida against the railing. The wood groaned faintly under their combined weight. "So, anything you want to talk about?" "I know that look," Ellie said, poking her cheek. Jaida exhaled, pushing her hand away, and then glanced down at her own hands. The weight of it all lingered in her palms, heavy and unshakable. "Just the same thoughts. Mom, Wraiths, Warnog, Voyd." A weary sigh slipped out. "I'm just trying to keep it all together." Ellie nudged her shoulder gently. "I gotcha. Maybe not on that extent, but I get it. We've got a long road ahead of us." She paused, then added, "What's important is that we're all in this together." Jaida nodded, a small laugh escaping her. "Yeah, you're right about that." She tilted her head, curiosity flickering in her gaze. "Anything new with you since we got here? We haven't talked much since the festival." Ellie hesitated, a rare blush dusting her cheeks. Yeah, actually. I think me and Coco are officially a thing. She kind of impulse kissed me." Jaida's eyebrows shot up. Wait, seriously?" Ellie nodded, rubbing the back of her neck. "Yeah. We haven't brought it up since. I think our circumstances are to blame. But when this is all over, we're gonna have a nice long chat about that." Jaida grinned and nudged Ellie's shoulder harder. "Well, it's not like it wasn't obvious. Coco's always the first one at your baseball games, along with anything else you do. She never shuts up about you." Ellie scoffed, rolling her eyes, though the pink in her cheeks deepened. Jaida chuckled. "It's like me constantly talking about Voyd." That got a snort from Ellie. "Speaking of," she began, her tone shifting slightly. "What are your thoughts about that whole green power surge thing? Whatever has been going on with him?" Jaida's amusement dimmed. Through the window, she could see Voyd resting beside Toonie, his brow furrowed, his usual energy replaced with something tense and unfamiliar. "Meowkery explained earlier that he's somehow linked with my mom. Emerald Celestia, whatever that science is," Jaida murmured, crossing her arms. "I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about him." Her fingers tightened around her sleeves. "I just really hope whatever's happening doesn't hurt him anymore, you know?" Ellie nodded. "Yeah, I know I rag on the guy. He's such a doofus, let's be real. But..." She glanced back inside, her expression softening. "He's one of the toughest guys I've ever met." A crybaby, but tough. Whatever's going on in there, he'll overcome it. Jaidas smiled faintly. I know he will. I just wish he didn't have to deal with it. Ellie bumped their shoulders together again. We'll fix this. I know we will. Inside the Caddyshacky, the atmosphere was a mix of exhaustion and quiet determination. Miakri manned the controls with practiced ease, though his ears twitched irritably as he monitored the engine. Downstairs and across the room, Coco sat stiffly on one of the couches, her fingers fumbling with a roll of bandages as she tried and failed to wrap a gash on her forearm. Across from her, Voyd remained seated beside Toonie, who was still fast asleep despite the Shacky's rocking. Toby curled up like a fuzzy hat on his chest. Voyd's fingers drummed against his knee, his usual energy subdued by something deeper. Then, footsteps approached. Hey, you need help? Coco got startled, nearly dropping the bandages. It was Francine. She stood beside her, arms crossed, exhaustion etching shadows under her eyes. But there was an unfamiliar softness in that expression. Coco blinked. Do I... Wait, what? Francine huffed, though there was no real annoyance in it like there was before. Just a tired, genuine huff. I asked if you needed help. You know, patching yourself up. Voyd glanced over, a small, knowing smile tugging at his lips. He gave Francine an approving nod before turning his attention back to Toonie. Coco, meanwhile, stared at Francine like she'd grown a second head. Is this some kind of prank? Are you trying to poke fun at me or something? Francine sighed, shaking her head. No, not this time. She hesitated, then added, quieter. I'm really asking if you would like some help. Coco searched her face, baffled by the sincerity she found there. Finally, she exhaled and lifted her arm slightly. Yeah. Could you maybe wrap this scrape for me? My fingers are all blistered and it's hard to do it. Francine nodded and sat beside her, taking the bandages with careful fingers. Coco watched, wide-eyed, as Francine worked in silence, wrapping the wound with surprising gentleness. When she was done, Francine moved to another scrape on Coco's leg without a word. Thank you, Coco managed, her voice small. Francine merely nodded in response, her lips pressed into a thin line. Words still failed her, but the gesture wasn't lost on Voyd. He could see it, the effort, the hesitant steps towards something better. Then, a tap on his shoulder. Voyd turned to find Winona looming over him, her expression a mix of confusion and thinly veiled desperation. Hey, you got a sec? She asked, jerking her head towards the back of the cabin. Voyd nodded and followed as she tugged him by the scarf around the corner, out of earshot. The second they were alone, Winona whirled on him, almost pinning him against the wall with an intensity in her glare. What the heck happened between you two? She hissed. Voyd held his hands up. Whoa, easy there, Bubblegum, he said. No, Voyd, I'm serious, Winona whispered, her voice cracking. Francine's been acting real differently since we were taken by Hex. You two definitely had more than a nice conversation. What happened? Voyd exhaled, his expression softening. He reached up, his hands cupping hers gently. I don't think I'm the one to explain this, Bubs. His voice was low, almost tender. Because I think the girl you lost was never truly gone. I think she's waiting to talk to you. Winona's breath shuddered. Conflicting emotions warred in her eyes. Hope and fear and a raw, aching vulnerability. She glanced back around the corner, where Francine was now talking to Coco. Coco, one of the people she'd spent years tormenting. They were just talking. What? Wait, I don't... Voyd... A sudden, violent lurch cut her off. The Caddyshacky screeched to a halt, throwing everyone off balance. Voyd and Winona stumbled. Coco and Francine nearly toppled off the couch. Outside, Jaida and Ellie barely caught themselves before going over the rail. Ah, not again! Miyakuri's frustrated shout rang from the control deck. Voyd steadied Winona before calling up. What happened? His voice was tense. The engine short-circuited. Again. Gonna have to repair it. Coco groaned, rubbing her head. How long is that gonna take? The frog asked, as Francine steadied her. About 30 minutes, maybe? Ellie and Jaida entered back into the cabin. Would you want me and Voyd to just soulbind it? She asked, as Ellie adjusted her baseball cap. No, conserving that energy for real nasty situations. Miyakuri insisted. How about you take the time to relaxy? Go outside. We're in a safety spot if you can believe it. The Sapphire Fields. The group exchanged glances, then turned towards the windows. Beyond the glass, Ophis' environment transformed again. They stood now in a serene glade, the trees glowing an ethereal blue, their luminescent leaves casting a gentle light over the teal grass below. The air hummed with quiet energy, calm, undisturbed. Ellie shrugged. I could use a break. Coco took her hand with a smile. Me too. One by one, the others agreed, filing out into the soft glow, all except Toby, who remained fast asleep atop Toonie, blissfully unaware of the pause in their journey. For now, it could wait. The Sapphire Forest breathed in quiet, cosmic pulses, its towering trees pulsing with a soft sapphire glow that shimmered beneath the canopy like submerged stars. The group had journeyed a ways off from the shack, venturing deep into the heart of the woods. They drifted apart naturally. Voyd and Jaida had peeled off to the right, moving like two halves of a single rhythm, while Ellie and Coco wandered to the left, their footsteps lighter, voices lower. Winona and Francine lingered behind, not quite together, not quite alone. Close enough to see each other, distant enough to pretend they were worlds apart. Jaida knelt suddenly, her knees sinking into the soft moss as her breath caught. Before her was a bed of flowers, vivid violet blossoms with delicate petals that curled like folded hands in prayer. They pulsed faintly, in time with the trees, as if breathing. She smiled, the expression lighting her face in a way that made the forest seem brighter. Reaching down, she cupped one gently between her fingers, lifting it to her nose. The scent was intoxicating, sweet. It filled her lungs, and for a moment, she closed her eyes, letting the feeling swell. Have I ever told you how beautiful you are? Voyd asked, his voice low and warm. He leaned against a thick, spiraling trunk, arms crossed, his blue eyes fixed on her with quiet intensity. The glow from the trees danced across his features, catching the edges of his horns. Jaida turned, her cheeks flushing the shade of Halloween lights. She rolled her eyes, but the smile tugged at the corners of her lips. Yes, several times, actually. Voyd chuckled. Would you like me to stop? Jaida shook her head, still smiling. No. I like it. I like it a lot. Another laugh passed between them, gentle and shared. Voyd pushed off the tree and approached, his movements smooth. He reached out, fingers brushing through a loose strand of her hair, tucking it behind her ear. It was a familiar gesture, one he'd done since the beginning. Jaida's breath hitched slightly, her cheeks warming further. No one else treated her like that. No one else dared. "You feeling okay?" she asked, her voice softer now. She raised her hand, gloved fingertips grazing the side of his round head. Voyd nodded. "Still up and moving. I haven't keeled over just yet." Jaida frowned. "Don't say things like that." Voyd shrugged, eyes narrowed downwards. "Sorry. Just trying to make light of it all." She didn't let him retreat. Instead, she stepped closer, pressing her forehead slightly against his, their breaths mingling in the space between. Voyd exhaled, a slow release of tension, and leaned into her. "If it makes you feel any better," he murmured. "I had that dream again." Jaida lifted her head slightly, her eyes searching his. "Which one?" she asked. "The one where I'm a father," Voyd replied, a soft smile playing on his lips. "But it was different this time." Jaida's breath hitched. "How so?" Together, they sank into the bed of purple flowers, the blooms cushioning them as the forest ambient glow wrapped around them like a blanket. Voyd looked up, as if watching the memory unfold in the air above. That blurry shape of a wife, it wasn't so blurry anymore. It was you, Jaida. We were married. We had a family. Jaida's heart skipped. She looked away, a shy, radiant smile blooming across her face. "We were living in this nice little home," he continued, voice thick with emotion. "Somewhere quiet, somewhere green. No fighting, no pain, just peace. Our kids. We had 4 little gumballs." Jaida turned back to him, eyes wide, and then she burst into laughter. "What? 4 little gumballs? That's insane. 4 kids is ridiculous." Voyd nodded, grinning now. "There were 4. 2 boys, 2 girls, all loud, all chaotic. All ours." He paused, his expression softening, gaze drifting to the side. "We were happy. Really happy. I just hope that maybe it's a sign that all of this, the fighting, the loss, the fear, it'll all lead to something as nice as that." Jaida reached up, cradling his face in her hands. Her eyes shimmered, not with tears but with something deeper. Belief. "Oh, Blue. That's adorable." She then laughed softly, leaning in, pressing her nose gently against his face in a slow, tender Eskimo kiss. "If it's a sign, then I wouldn't mind it. Not one bit." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Not sure about 4 kids, though. That's a bit much." Voyd chuckled. Whoa. Let's not worry about that right now. We've only been dating for a little over a year." Jaida giggled. "Yeah, that's a good idea." Voyd met her gaze, and in that silence, the world seemed to shrink to just the 2 of them. "I love you," he said, simple and sure. She smiled. "I love you the most." He scoffed playfully, but before he could retort, she kissed his cheek, lingering just a breath too long. "Cringe!" The word cut through the moment like a knife. They turned. Nellie stood a few feet away, arms crossed, one eyebrow arched high. Coco was beside her, shifting awkwardly, hands tucked into her overall pockets. I thought it was cute, she muttered, voice small. Ellie stuck out her tongue and made a loud, exaggerated fart noise with her mouth. Farther beyond the clearing, where the forest floor sloped gently into a meadow of long grass, Francine sat alone on an overturned log, her knees pulled to her chest. Butterflies, delicate, iridescent things, danced around her in lazy spirals. She watched them, mesmerized, the rise and fall of her chest matching their rhythm. For a moment, the weight lifted. The guilt, the shame, the endless loop of what have I done all quieted. She inhaled deeply, letting the forest air fill her lungs, letting herself feel. Then came the voice. It's been a long time since I've seen your eyes. Francine jolted upright, spine straightening like a wire pulled. Winona stood a few paces away, clutching her satchel with both hands, her posture rigid, her gaze uncertain. The years hung between them, heavy, charged. Winona! Francine breathed, the name catching in her throat like a thorn. Winona looked away, then back, then to the side again. Her fingers tightened on the strap of her bag. Yeah, it was getting hard to see, Francine said softly. I see, Winona replied, voice barely above a whisper. A silence stretched, fragile and trembling. Do you mind if I sit? Winona asked, tentative. Francine hesitated, just a beat too long. Only if you want to. Winona approached slowly, each step deliberate, as if afraid the ground might give way. She settled on the far end of the log, back to Francine's back, the space between them wide despite their proximity. They sat like that for a long time, shoulders nearly touching, hearts miles apart, listening to the forest breathe. Could we talk? Winona finally asked, her voice small, fragile. Francine exhaled. I was gonna ask the same thing. And then, as if pulled by an invisible thread, they both turned, slowly. Hesitantly, their eyes met, pink-red locking on the silver-white for the first time in years. A flood of memory crashed in, laughter over shared meals, secrets whispered in hallways, hands clasped in fear during drills. The warmth of friendship long extinguished, but beneath the nostalgia, something darker stirred, betrayal, rage, and wounds that never scabbed over. Winona looked away first. Francine stared at her lap. What did you want to talk about? Francine asked, voice trembling slightly. Winona stared blankly into the trees. I guess I just wanted to see how you were. Francine paused. A bit lost, I guess. But that's nothing new in regards to me, is it? Winona turned her head slowly, studying the profile of the girl beside her. The sharper angles of her face, the shadows under her eyes, the way her fingers trembled where they gripped her knees. Yeah, I suppose it's not, Winona admitted, then sharper. What's with your switch-up? Why are you suddenly a team player? Francine flinched. You went from not giving a damn to suddenly saying we do this as a team? Winona pressed, turning fully now. You just helped Coco, the girl you bullied relentlessly? Why? Why now after all of it? What happened between you and Voyd? Is this real, or are you scheming something? What's your aim here? Her voice rose, trembling with years of buried pain. People don't just change like that after years of being a monster. Winona spat, shaking her head with audible confusion. Don't do this to me, she pleaded, voice cracking. I know you. I know this isn't genuine. Don't tug my heart and emotions like this again. You've already put me through enough. Francine didn't move, but her shoulders trembled. I know, she whispered. I know. Winona stilled. Voyd, he's got a way with words, okay? Francine muttered, head bowed. It's just... I guess I had a coming to Jesus moment down there with him. Everything kind of just crashed in around me. She wrapped her arms around herself, hugging tight as if holding her soul together. I'm not trying to hurt you again. I never wanted to in the first place. The silence that followed was thick, aching. I know that sounds like total crap, she continued, voice cracked to a whisper. I did hurt you, she said, the words raw. I can't forgive myself for what I did. What I did to you, Jaida, Coco, all of them. I just want to fix it. I have too many mistakes to make up for. Winona sat, frozen, jaw slack, eyes wide. Her hand lifted instinctively toward Francine's shoulder, but paused midair, trembling. Then, slowly, she pulled it back, curling it into a fist at her side. Winona began, voice breaking. I don't know if I believe you. She looked down. How could I? After everything? I can't. I just can't. Francine didn't move. Her arms went slack. Her head dipped low. I'm sorry, she said, so quietly it was almost lost. I'm so sorry, Winona. A breath. But I understand. I'm struggling to believe myself. The honesty hung in the air like mist, palpable, real. Just get away from me, Francine whispered, gesturing with her head toward the others, where laughter now drifted from the flower bed. You deserve to be with people who are actually there for you. Winona stared at her, really stared, searching for the cruel girl who used to smirk as she lit fires in others' lives. But she didn't see her. She saw another. The old Francine, the one who protected her, the one who used to sneak her extra rations at lunch, the one who stayed up with her during panic attacks, the one who once cared. That girl, buried, broken, but alive, was there, just beneath the scars. She was there for a fleeting moment, but gone the next. Winona shadowed by her anxieties and fears of what Francine had become. But in that fleeting moment, Winona knew she felt something shift. Her brow softened, her hands unclenched. Could it possibly be? She thought. Could it really be possible? Slowly, she reached out again, not to touch, but to offer. Francie? She asked. Thud! The sound ripped through the stillness of the forest like a thunderclap tearing open the sky. A heavy, resonant crash echoed between the towering trees, shaking the earth beneath their feet. Birds burst from the canopy in panic flurries, wings beating the air like war drums. Winona and Francine shot upright, gasping, their hearts slamming against their ribs. The vibration lingered in their bones, a deep tremor that didn't fade. Thud! Again it came, closer this time, sharp and deliberate. This was measured, rhythmic, purposeful. Heads turned, eyes started. The rest of the group stirred, Ellie rising with a hand instinctively to her bat, Coco clutching her chest, Jaida already scanning the tree line with narrowed eyes. Voyd was on his feet, in an instant, blade forming in his hand. "What the hell was that?" Francine asked, her voice trembling. No one answered. The thudding came again. 2 more impacts, deeper, heavier, rhythmic footfalls closing in from the tree line. The air grew thick, charged with something unseen. Then Coco turned and screamed. Her shriek tore through the group like a blade. Everyone followed her gaze in one synchronized motion, bodies freezing as if pinned. From the depths of the forest, something began to move. It emerged slowly, peeling away from a current of blue-tinged mist, camouflage from the very air itself. It was the cat. The teal-green cat. Its eyes burned, bright, aware, narrowed and locked onto the group. Saliva dripped from bared teeth. The growl that followed was low, guttural, a sound that didn't just reach for the ears, but vibrated in the chest. "Whoa!" Voyd cried, stumbling back, half-step, blade raised. "You again!" Jaida shouted. The beast didn't attack. Not yet. It simply advanced, each step deliberate, its glowing body casting eerie reflections on the brush. The group began to back up with tense breaths. That's when Ellie squinted, leaning forward slightly, her brow furrowed. "Wait a second," she muttered. "What?" Winona snapped, her voice tight. That can't be right," Ellie huffed. "The eye. The right one, it's fine," Coco finished, frowning. "Exactly," Ellie said, her voice rising. "I smashed it with my bat, square in the pupil. That eye was swollen, puffed up like a damn plum," she insisted. And now it's healed?" A beat passed. The cat snarled, taking another step forward. "That can't be possible," Coco said slowly. Unless it isn't," Francine whispered, her voice barely audible. Silence fell like a shroud. Even the beast seemed to pause, its ears twitching, head tilting slightly. Then, thud. Another impact. Not from the same direction. From the left. Everyone turned as one, necks craning, hearts stuttering. And there, from behind a thick cluster of trees, another shape emerged. Another giant cat. This one shimmered with the same green. Tall, powerful, its muscles coiled like springs beneath its skin. But what made them all go still, what made blood freeze in their veins, was its eye. The right one, swollen, bruised. "There's 2 of them!" Ellie shrieked, gripping her bat so hard her knuckles turned white. The 2 beasts locked eyes across the clearing. Then, their growls softened. A low rumbling purr began deep in their chests, rising in harmony. They moved toward each other with slow, deliberate steps, tail hands flicking, ears laid back, not in threat, but in something like recognition. As they neared, one lowered its head, and the other leaned in. Their massive faces brushed, cheeks rubbing, foreheads pressing together in tender gesture. They began to nuzzle, licking each other's muzzles, cooing like 2 creatures reunited after a long separation. "Huh?" Voyd said, dumbfounded, lowering his blade an inch. "How's that?" Jaida demanded, pointing at them. Meowgary said it was just his dad. Who's this? Winona's breath caught, her eyes widening, a terrible realization blooming in her mind. He doesn't know what happened to his mom, right? Isn't that what he said? She whispered, voice shaking. The others turned to her. Is that? She began, but the words died in her throat, as, in perfect unison, the two beasts turned their heads towards the group. The love vanished, replaced by hunger, feral, primal, consuming. Their eyes blazed, twin storms of predatory instinct. A roar erupted from both of them at once, a sound so powerful it cracked the air, shook the trees, sent a wave of dread through the group like ice water. Oh no. Voyd breathed, every muscle tensing. Back to the shack! Run! He screamed, grabbing Jaida's wrist and turning. Jaida didn't hesitate. She warped forwards, dragging them all ahead in a flash of orange light, just as the two cats lunged, claws carving furrows in the soil where they'd stood moments before. The sprint was a blur of terror and adrenaline. The forest became a nightmare tunnel, roots snaking up to trip them, branches whipping at their faces. Behind them, the world trembled. Thud, thud, thud. The cats were fast, unnaturally fast, gaining with every leap, their roars echoing between the trees like war cries. We're dead! We're so dead! Francine gasped, stumbling over a log. How'd they even get into the second ring? Ellie panted, leaping over a fallen oak. I destroyed the barrier! Jaida shouted, twisting mid-stride the warped Coco out of the way of a crushing paw. Anything from that first ring can now cross! She cried. Oh, well that's just great! Winona howled, sprinting ahead with fire in her lungs. At last, the tree line broke. The shack stood in the clearing ahead. Meowgary! Is it fixed? Voyd bellowed as they burst from the woods. The feline's head peeked out from the upper window. Meowgary's ears perked, eyes wide. Yessie! Why are you running me? Then, he saw them. The two massive cats burst from the forest like twin comets of fury, teal and green, glowing, roaring. Meowgary froze. His breath caught. His pupils shrank to pinpricks. Dad? He whispered, voice trembling. Then his gaze fell on the second cat, the one with the bruised eye, the one whose scent, faint, buried beneath years of loss, was suddenly impossibly familiar. Mom? He breathed, the word barely audible. Memories flooded him. Soft purrs, warm snuggles, a mother's gaze. The last time he saw her was in that godforsaken lab, unsure of her fate. And now, she was here, alive, in the same condition as his father? Drive! Ellie shrieked as they all piled inside, but Meowgary didn't move. He just stared, frozen in disbelief. He stammered. Mommy, not you too. Jaida didn't wait. She warped upstairs in a blink, shoved Meowgary aside, and slammed the lever forward with both hands. The shack roared to life. Wheels screeched on metal rails. The entire structure jolted, throwing everyone off their feet. Everyone fell to the floor except for Winona, who collided with the wall in an awkward stumble. Outside, the two cats skidded to a halt at the edge of the tracks, watching as the shack blazed forward into the jungle. Meowgary scrambled to his feet, dragging himself to the window. He pressed his paws against the glass, watching as his parents, both of them, turned and began the chase, paws pounding the ground, eyes never leaving the fleeing vehicle. How? How can this be? He whispered, voice cracking in normal tone. I thought they killed her. I was tracking him for years. But was I tracking both? Did I miss her the whole time? Meowgary asked. Jaida gripped his little shoulder. Hey, I'm sorry to break it to you. Let's focus on not dying and getting eaten by cosmic panthers. She summoned her bow in a flash of orange energy, aimed through the window, and loosened the arrow. It struck the father cat's shoulder. A spray of light exploded on impact. The beast howled, stumbling, but didn't stop. Below, chaos reigned. Ellie and Coco were trying to stabilize Toonie, who still laid unconscious. Toby panted heavily in the corner, ears flat. Francine stood by the door, eyes darting. "Winona, light that stick up!" Voyd barked, marching to the porch. "I'll cover from the right!" Winona lunged for a weapon, yanking out the stick, and used Ellie's lighter to ignite it. A bright blue flame roared to life, casting dancing shadows across her face. She stepped outside and beside Voyd, standing on the rickety porch as the shack rumbled forwards. The two cats were gaining, closing fast. Voyd raised his arms, twin cannons emerging. Blasts of raw spark essence ripped through the air, striking the lead mother cat. It flinched, staggered, but kept coming. "Not working!" Voyd growled. "Use the fire!" Winona swung the flare in a wide arc. Long tongues of flame sliced through the air, landing across the father cat's muzzle. It screeched, a sound of real pain. "Cosmic fire!" she shouted. "It's like an antidote to their energy! We got any more of those bombs?" Winona asked. "Move it! Hail Mary incoming!" Ellie roared. She grabbed several of Meowcary's grenades and sprinted towards the door. She hurled 3 explosives onto the tracks behind them. They flashed, once, twice, then erupted in a wall of fire that rolled backwards like tidal waves. The two cats were engulfed. They howled, tumbling back, eyes blazing with fury and pain. They skidded to a halt, shaking their heads, smoke curling from the muzzles. They didn't retreat. Not yet. They stood at the edge of the inferno, watching, waiting. Their eyes said it all. 4 simple words. "We will find you." Then as one, they turned and vanished into the wilderness. Silence. The shack rolled onwards, engine groaning. Inside, bodies now laid slump in exhaustion. The air in the living room was thick, thicker than smoke, heavier than silence. No one moved. No one spoke. They sat huddled together, processing what had just happened. At the center of it all was Meowcary. He wasn't his usual self. No playful words, no exaggerated gestures, no grinning theatrics. The cat who lived in motion had gone still. Too still. His body, once bright and chaotic, now hummed a faint blue, clinging to his trembling frame. His face was twisted, not in pain exactly, but in something worse. Realization. A slow, creeping horror that gnawed at the edges of his mind. His ears lay flat against his head, and he stared at nothing, or perhaps at everything, and his voice, when it finally came, was a whisper. "I thought she had died." He murmured, the words disjointed, fragile. "Was I tracking bothie? Was I mistaking one for the othery?" His claws flexed against the couch fabric, digging in, releasing, digging again. Jaida leaned in close, her hand finding the top of his head, fingers sliding gently through his gelatin fur. "We're just as confused as you are, dude," she said, her voice steady, warm like embers in a dying fire. "But just like all that's going on now, we're gonna fix it, in one way or another." Meowcary didn't look at her. His breath hitched. "We bettery," he stated, but the words dissolved in the air like smoke. Then, movement. Soft groan, a shift in the stillness. Toonie. He stirred, his body twisting slightly, limbs twitching as if swimming through a dream. A collective breath caught in the room. Eyes snapped towards him, hearts paused. "Toonie!" The name burst from all of them at once, a chorus of disbelief and hope. They rushed to his side, crowding around the couch where he lay, knees bumping, hands hovering, afraid to touch too hard. The wolf blinked slowly, his white pupils dilating as the world snapped in the focus. "Oh... Guys?" he mumbled, voice thick and groggy. Then, astonishingly, he sat up with ease. No wince, no hesitation, just a smooth motion like he hadn't blown up in a tank of energy. Francine lunged forward first, wrapping her arms around him in a crushing embrace. Toonie, startled, hesitated, then hugged back, awkwardly at first, then with growing certainty, like muscle memory kicking in. Hey, he said, voice rough but clear, his gaze darting around the room. "What happened? Where are we?" No one answered, because they were all staring at his eyes. Gone was the fiery orange that had always danced in Toonie's gaze. In its place, a luminous teal green, glowing faintly like neon lit from within. The unnatural hue pulsed slightly with his breath, shifting in the dim light. "Guys?" Toonie asked, frowning, scanning their horrified expressions. "What?" Then he saw his reflection, cast in the polished curve of Voyd's armor, and he froze, his breath caught. His hair now shimmered at the tips with the strands of green, like embers caught in the breeze. His eyes, still his own, but changed, not disfigured, not monstrous, transformed in hue. And his paws, when he turned them over, they glowed faintly, a steady pulse of teal light beneath the fur on his palm. What the hell?" His voice cracked. Memory surged back. The blinding flash of fire, the searing force of Hex's motion, the emerald light, the darkness. He looked at his friends, desperate now. What'd they do to me?" His voice trembled. "Oh God, guys, what did he do to me?" Voyd knelt beside him. Jaida moved with him, placing a hand on Toonie's back, grounding him. We don't know, Toonster," Voyd said, his voice low, measured. "It was a mix of emerald celestia and dark matter. The energy seems to have fused with you." Toonie shook his head, panic edging into his voice. "How bad is that?" Jaida eyed him with a gentle stare. "Well, we won't know until you know. How do you feel?" Jaida questioned. Toonie exhaled, long and slow. He closed his eyes, focusing inward. He flexed his fingers, twisted his neck, rolled his shoulders. The fear tightened in his chest, but beneath it, something else. He opened his eyes. "I actually feel good," he said, surprise coloring his tone. I feel fine. Better than fine." He stood up, testing his balance. The blast had burned away the lower parts of his coat sleeves, charred patches of his pants, but his skin and fur, where it showed, was smooth and purple, unmarked and broken. He looked at his palms again, the faint green glow pulsing like a heartbeat. "No pain?" Ellie asked, narrowing her eyes. "No soreness? Nothing?" Toonie shook his head. "Nah, I feel like $1,000,000, actually. My old scrapes, the bruises, they're gone. I'm tired, yes, but it's like whatever happened to me fixed everything. Like my body just reset itself." Voyd came to a sudden realization. "The matter," he said. "It doesn't matter which, light or dark. If a being has more of it within themselves than usual, the faster they'll heal." Coco's eyes perked. "Wait a minute, so are you saying he's like you now?" Voyd shook his head. No, not by a long shot. But Tuni's biology, it's been altered. There's more dark matter in him now. On top of that, the Emerald Celestia, if it's a stronger form of cosmic energy, who knows? Tuni stared at him, unease nodding in his chest. I remember what Hex said now. It's coming back to me. Dark matter, it isn't a bad thing, is it? Voyd met his gaze. Only if there's too much. If I had to guess, your cosmic energy might be balancing it, keeping it from consuming you. But that's just my theory. Winona tilted her head. Since fire, star energy, whatever is a form of light, would that mean cosmic energy would be made of light matter? Voyd shrugged. Maybe? I don't really know what's what, to be honest. But if we're to guess, probably. Francine turned to Mercury. Any input, Cat? You're the expert here. Mercury blinked, slow and heavy, like he was dragging himself back from some distant place. He looked at Tuni, then at the others, and gave a weak shrug. Jaida stepped forward then, wrapping her arms around Tuni in a tight hug. Well, she said, her voice thick with relief. Whatever the answer is, I'm just glad you're okay. We were worried sick about you, Tuni. Tuni smiled through the affection and hugged her back, a soft, shaky laugh escaping him. I'm glad to be okay. A group hugged and embraced. The room exhaled, smiles, cautious but real, flickered across their faces. Even Mercury managed a faint grin despite his revelation. Wait a minute. Cosmic fire is supposed to destroy Celestia and other cosmic essences, right? Winona whispered. How come Tuni still has it when he, blew up with said fire? Voyd shook his head. The dark matter was fused with it. It most likely protected the essence when the bombs went off, keeping it safe. I can't stress it enough when I say that dark matter is powerful. Voyd reasoned, trying to enjoy the embrace. Whatever, man. So many questions. Just shut up and enjoy the moment. Ellie huffed, trying to make the moment last a little bit longer. Then, Tuni stiffened. He pulled back, his new green eyes widening as he turned toward the window. Did we just pass a carnival ride? Everyone froze, then turned. Outside, Ophis had changed again. The shack had slowed on the rails, creaking to a stop as the landscape unfolded around them. They all got up, making their way onto the porch. Before them stretched a carnival unlike any other. Surreal, alive in the wrong way. Lights flickered like looping patterns, rides spun with no riders, and games rang with phantom cheers. But the place was empty, not a soul in sight, just motion without life. And at the heart of it all stood a manor. It defied logic, a towering funhouse forged in madness. A roller coaster track snaked in and out of the walls, disappearing into gaping holes like veins. Its roof twisted into a tended shape, flapping as if breathing. The entrance. It was a massive gaping mouth shaped like a snarling dragon, complete with flickering red eyes and teeth that shifted like a trapdoor. It gaped open, awaiting them. The ground trembled slightly as the rails guided the shack forward. Where the hell are we now? Ellie asked, resting her bat over her shoulder. Mercury stepped forwards, his voice hollow but certain. The second house of Ophis, he said. We have entered Brother Wagsy's domain. As the words left his mouth, the dragon's maw groaned shut behind them, sealing with a final, echoing clang.